Welcome to Duck Hoops episode 13. I'm Charlie Duckworth.
I'm Matt Duckworth. How y'all doing tonight?
And we just like talking about college hoops. It's almost Selection Sunday. We are creeping towards that day. It feels just like yesterday. We're just starting the season. It's a little wild. How much this is the last week of strictly conference games, and then next week conference tournaments start.
That's so crazy. That is so crazy how time flies. But I'm here for it, man. Things are heating up, and I get to talk hoops with my best friend and my son. That's the best thing I could ever ask for.
Yeah, and do we want to get into something that I know you're going to complain about?
Let's go.
All right, Charles Bediako, our favorite basketball player in the G League. He again got denied, I believe, yesterday in Tuscaloosa by a judge. He's not playing basketball. That's flat out what's going to happen. He's not going to play basketball.
Well, he has filed an injunction to the Supreme Court, and it's got something to do with the NCAA, and I don't quite understand it. But I'm hoping you're right. I'm hoping he doesn't play another game of basketball. And this thing has just gotten ridiculous. At some point in time, man, just hang it up. Like, go play overseas or, do something. But quit trying to play college basketball, brother.
The Delaware Bluecoats are calling your number. That's all I'm saying. They need you in the G League.
I'm telling you, man. Like, and I don't want to take anything away from this kid. He's a fabulous athlete. You don't get to the NBA G League without being able to ball, but give it up. And, Nate Oates, the whole Alabama faithful that want this guy to play, give it up. I get it. He's good. He can help y'all out. Y'all's year hadn't been going well, but he doesn't need to see another college basketball court. And that's all I got to say about it.
Okay. And then some more news over the past week. The NCAA commissioner, Charlie Baker, said that they should expand the format from 68 teams in March, which at some point we're getting to some oversaturation, I feel like. And some teams, I feel like if you were to do it, it was a couple of years ago when West Virginia got snubbed. I think that's when the conversation should have happened. Now it's like, is there 68 teams that are worthy of being in this tournament this year? I don't know.
No,
really.
That's right.
That's the issue.
I didn't particularly like it when they went to 68 because multiple small schools, conference champions, end up having to play, the 8th or 9th or 10th best team from the SEC or Big 12 or whatever, as a 12 seed or, or not a 12 seed, excuse me, in a play-in game. Some things work, and this tournament has worked for a while. I understand that when I was a kid in the 80s for a little bit, it was 32 teams, and then it went to 64. I think that's the magical number, to be honest with you. Are some teams going to get snubbed? Of course. That's part of the fun of all this thing. Like, think about it. I'm sure when we do our selection show, and I know every selection show I've ever watched since I was a wee lad, part of it was like, who got snubbed? Who was on the bubble,
that's kind of the biggest reveal of the whole thing. It feels
ultimately, you're letting 68 teams have a chance at a national title. Like, it's enough. I think if they go to any more, it will water it down. Will there be some teams that make some upsets? Of course. But it really does take away from the regular season. It takes away from the conference tournaments, and he can go on with this. I'm not good with this either.
Yeah, he did say he'd like it to expand, but you got to think that the board of the NCAA and just the officials around it, especially in the smaller areas, are going to just hate it. It is a checks and balances issue, and Charlie Baker's been checked a few times in his run as the NCAA commissioner. And he's had kind of a disastrous run in the past couple of years. He's kind of stunk it up.
Well, I hope that the tournament, now we're at 68. I wish we'd go back to 64, but we're at 68. I'm fine with that. We don't need to have any more in discussion.
All right. Well, with our 2 rants out of the way, do we want to get into last week's games, last week's predictions?
Yeah, let's do that. It was a wild week. It really was.
We stunk it up. That's what.
Yeah, we did not do great, but that's okay. We started off with BYU versus Arizona. Both of us went with the Wildcats.
Yeah, I mean that game, Arizona wins it. BYU is such a weird team. Again, like I feel like I've said it so many times this year, but they are the most bipolar team in the country. It feels like. I feel like we're looking at a team that can either win by 20 or get blown out by 30 at points.
Yeah. I think they're a dangerous team in the tournament, not in respects of winning the whole thing. I think they can, if they get a low enough seed or if AJ really gets hot at the right time, that they could do some things. But that's it. They don't have enough around Debanza that really is going to help them.
Yeah.
I mean,
he sacrificed himself for this game. 35 points.
He did. I mean, he's, and we'll talk more about him as we go. So we got another game with him. But at this point in time, man, I'm completely sold on him being the number 1 pick in the draft. I understand that it's a situational thing. But I'm telling you right now, man, this kid can flat out ball. And like he's made for the NBA. He's long, he can score at all levels. He reminds me of slightly of Kevin Durant, a little bit shorter, but man, he can definitely light it up. But yeah, Arizona handled business in this one like we both thought they would. And about all I got to say about that one. The next one we had, Tuck, was Vandy versus Tennessee.
I regret everything I said about this game coming in. I thought Vandy, since, winter in Nashville is about like fall in St. Louis right now. Nothing's going on. So I thought Vandy having a good team would bring out a good crowd and lead them to victory against Tennessee. And I'll flat out say it. That did not happen. Tennessee came in. They kind of dominated this game. It was a 4-point win, but they kind of were the decider. They were the ones that orchestrated the pace.
Yeah, I agree with you. Every time I start inching Vandy in my top 10 or up there somewhere, something like this happens. I think that they have been blessed with an SEC schedule that is not as tough as some other ones. I think they're a quality team, but I think this win from Tennessee is what they needed. They fell out of the top 25. They were kind of struggling there, and that they weren't going to let little brother upset them.
Well, what happened last night when they got back in the top 25?
Well, that's true. That is true. Yeah. But all I can do is talk about this particular game. And, we both got it wrong. We both were on Vanderbilt. So, it's a tough one. But the next one was way, way more interesting as Arizona went into Houston and beat those Cougars.
Hey, this is a wild one in the Fertitta Center. Flat out. I believe I picked Arizona.
You did.
I did. I didn't believe in Arizona, though. I thought that I kind of picked Arizona because I was like, I've been so high on them all year, I kind of can't go back. It's got to a point where I feel like it's too far gone to pick someone else against them in a game like this. But it's been the problem with Houston this year. They shot 36% against Arizona. They shot 31% from 3. They were 8 for 26 from beyond the line. I mean, they were able to get to the free throw line, and I mean, they got that at 82%, but it's Kingston Fleming's trying to kind of carry a team when Emmanuel Sharp is the only other person who's there.
Yeah, they're dysfunctional on offense. I kept thinking that they were going to kind of figure this thing out. They show glimpses of it. They go through stretches where they cannot score. We'll talk about a game here in a little while where they went through a enormous stretch. I don't know, man. Another big win for Arizona in what I believe the Big 12. Let me ask you this before we move on. What's a better conference right now, the Big 12 or the Big 10? Because I go back and forth.
Okay. I think the better question would be Big 12 or SEC. Because I think the Big 10. I think the Big 10's the best conference, and I think that the Big 12's there, then the SEC's third. It's all kind of close.
I would agree with you from this aspect that the Big 10 is definitely the deepest conference, in my opinion. I think. And I'm starting to kind of wonder about that. I think the Big 12 at the top, though, I think I'd take them.
I mean, they own half the top 10, it feels like, every week.
And then you've got teams like UCF and other teams that are proving that they're really good. It's crazy because we were coming off a year where the SEC had 13 to 16 teams in the tournament, and there was all this SEC. And the Big 12 and the Big 10 have come out this year, and they're both decidedly better conferences. I think.
Meanwhile, the ACC's having fun on an island.
Yeah,
somewhere else.
They are. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing I have else to say about this game. Good win for Arizona, especially going on the road and doing it.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you get bench scoring. Anthony Del Orso had 22 in this game off the bench.
That's huge. Arizona's proven now that they've got a lot of guys that can score, and that bodes well for them moving down the stretch. The next one we had maybe considered the biggest game of the year so far, as at the time, number 1 Michigan played number 3 Duke, and man, it delivered. It was a great game. It was a fantastic game.
It was an amazing game. 20,000 people packed out the Capital One Arena in Washington for this one. It was a very confusing first half for Michigan. Really, Ade Mara getting into foul trouble in that first half, I think, kind of killed Michigan. If he does not get into foul trouble, I could see Michigan possibly winning this game, right? Mm-hmm. But it made him play a little bit more soft, a little bit more lax in that second half.
Well, they had multiple guys that were starting to ease. I know he was, he had 3 pretty quick, but they had multiple guys getting into foul trouble, and they were really leaning on Lindenberg. Am I saying that right?
Lindenborg.
They were really leaning on him, and he was delivering. He's a guy that doesn't get talked about quite as much as these freshmen when they come to the draft, but he's going to be a quality NBA player in my mind too. But down the stretch, man, Duke just kept figuring out ways to hit baskets. I don't have the box score in front of me, but there were a lot of people piling on there.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Everyone but Caden Boozer scored for Duke.
Yeah.
In this one. A big circle is, it is. A big circle is, though, Elliot Cadeau, 1 for 8, had 8 points, 5 of 6 from the free throw line, though. But he got hurt in that game. He got a little shaken up in that first half. Really could not play the same. I would enjoy to see this game again in the tournament, because I think it could be a very different result.
Sure.
It was really dependent on which team got into foul trouble first, and it just so happened to be Michigan.
Well, I mean, I think you could see this again, and if we do see this again, I think it'll be in the Final Four of the national title game. These two are legit blue blood contenders for a national title. You can't really take anything away from them. They're well coached. They've got superstars on the team. They've got role players that can play, and man, it was fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
The next one we had on the agenda, Duck, was a big surprise. Iowa State coming off of really, some big victories, but they had to go into Provo. And man, I was watching this game and I just thought, wow, if this BYU shows up, then they're a legit contender, because they really handled the Cyclones.
Yeah. And I mean, they dominated flat out.
Mhm. Well, this was the game watching, and I'm watching this with Nikki, and I remember telling her, she probably didn't care, but I remember telling her, I was like, this guy is going to be a superstar in the NBA. Some of those plays AJ made was, I mean, it was just the guys. He's long, he can shoot the ball, he can play 1 through 4 really. Um, very talented, and you were talking about how bipolar a team was today. Well, Iowa State's kind of there too, man. I think they're great at home, but you get them on the road and it gets a little tricky, aside from that big win in Mackey Arena earlier this year.
Yeah, I mean, they've had obvious moments of it shining. The Kansas game is
Sure.
one in recent memory, and the Purdue game, and then you have this one, and you kind of have that Houston game was a little bit of both in that
Yeah.
one. They played some pretty good defense and sucked, and then played some pretty good defense at the end. Iowa State is just a team with so many question marks. I feel like they are, to me, that borderline between are you a 1 or are you a 2 in the tournament.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think at times they've looked like a definite 1. At other times they've looked like a 2. And I mean, even
I mean, at
possibly
points they've looked like a 6.
I think it was a big statement win for BYU, which they needed, and I think that's going to help them as far as seeding goes. Aside from that, I didn't feel like Iowa State should be penalized much for this loss, but it was definitely a belt to ass, as you like to say.
Well, do we want to talk about a belt involving BYU last night, real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, UCF. I mean, you were just talking about how BYU kind of might have proved something over the weekend. I think most of that talk might have been shot last night against UCF. UCF, they have been the giant killers in the Big 12 this year.
Yeah,
to give an example, I'm a big soccer fan. There's a Norwegian team right now that just made it into the Champions League round of 16. This is UCF in Europe right now. It's wild to see. They go on the road in the Marriott Center. It was 52-28 at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, Themis Folks might be the lowest or the most underrated and least talked about person. I think very well he should be a contender to win Big 12 Player of the Year. Honestly, out of UCF, I'm gonna say it. He has shined the brightest when it matters. Obviously, AJ, Peterson, Pete, Bradley, all those
Flemings.
people. Yeah, Flemings. Yeah, but Themis Folks, in my heart of hearts, is a Big 12 Player of the Year contender.
I'll say this about UCF. They scare me come tournament time, because if they can get hot, I mean, like you said, we've seen them beat some of the best teams in the Big 12, and we've seen them hang with some really good teams even out of conference. Yeah, I've said it all year, Charlie. I don't think BYU's got enough firepower around AJ. When Richie went down, I think that hurt them. They were able to bounce back, get the big dub against Iowa State. But this is a team that, unless AJ can do some really historic stuff in the tournament, I can't see them making the second weekend. But you never can tell, man.
Is that your bold prediction of?
Yeah, I've thought it for a while. I mean, I don't necessarily think they're a first round exit, but I think they're going to have a trouble making it to the Sweet 16.
Okay.
I really do. The next game we had on the slate was an interesting game. As Louisville Cardinals go in to play UNC in Chapel Hill, and the Tar Heels just keep winning in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, I mean it's all building up for Duke UNC soon.
Mm-hmm.
And that game's gonna be that game's in Cameron Indoor actually. I just realized
they won earlier in Chapel Hill. So
I forgot. I was like, that game's gonna be in Chapel Hill, so they're gonna be fired. No, that game's in Cameron Indoor. Well, it's really right now the ACC is, to me, what feels like a two-man race, and that's UNC and Duke.
Yeah.
Virginia's there. Virginia's there. Virginia is a talented team, but UNC is UNC. Duke is Duke. You know, Virginia just kind of, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like they could be one of those teams that get overranked in March that might have a slip up against the mid major. They've had some moments this year. They're still very talented.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Big story from this game. God, it eludes my name. The kid that hit the shot against Duke.
Seth Trimble.
Man, what he had 30?
He had 30.
Dude, he has had some really big games this year, and he doesn't get talked about a lot when we talk about the elite players in college basketball. He stepped up, especially, when they lose their star for, I don't know if we still have a timetable on when he might come back.
I don't think there is a timetable still.
Yeah, you can't say nothing, anything more than Trimble took over. He is a scorer, and he's not afraid to take the big shot. We figured that out. On the flip side of this, man, Louisville, every time they start to gain a little momentum back, like the momentum they had at the beginning of the year, it's somebody just cuts their throat and puts their foot on their neck and takes it away, man. And it happens again.
Louisville is another team that I'm like, I don't know how high I am on them because I could watch them play. Like earlier this year when they played Kentucky, I can watch them play and go, wow, this is a very well-coached, very talented team. And in points in this game, I'm like, this is a very talented team. Wow. And then you have some games where they just stink. And it's bad at points to watch Louisville play.
Well, I agree with you there. They are very inconsistent. But if they could get a little bit of that mojo that they had earlier in the year, they're a team that, sometimes losing down the stretch, it builds character, but I tell you what it also does. It gets you a lower seed in the tournament.
Yeah, it gets you a tougher opponent.
Well, it gets you a tougher opponent, but it's been proven that Louisville can hang and beat tougher opponents. So what I'm trying to say is I don't know that, I wouldn't rule them out. I kind of put them where I've got BYU. I don't see them making the second weekend, not unless they can figure some stuff out. They've got talent, Mikael Brown and others. They've got guys that can score. And I will say this, if they can get hot from the three, good Lord. But lately, they have just not showed any consistency. UNC, Duke, 2 will be a must-watch. That's for sure.
I just figured out. Caleb Wilson told ESPN last night he is going to return for Tobacco Road.
That's fantastic.
He said at least he's expected to return for Tobacco Road.
Well, that'd be great. That's what I would love to see that because the first game was a classic. I think this game could be one too. That environment at Cameron Indoor is going to be bonkers. So
especially after what he said.
Yeah, no. I hope he does come back for that. The last game we had on the slate, Charlie, was an interesting one. Houston goes into Fog Allen, and it was the match of Gorilla Monsoon used to say it was the a movable object meets the irresistible force. And I'll tell you why. Because coming into this game, Houston had lost 2 in a row, but they had not lost 3 in a row since 2017. Kansas, coming into this game, was 40-0 on Big Monday at home. So something had to give. And, what ended up giving was that the Cougars end up dropping their 3rd in a row, and Kansas, which is also a team that looks a little bipolar, ends up really putting the smackdown on the Cougars.
Yeah, one thing we didn't mention Saturday, Kansas, I think that was the worst loss Bill Self's ever had.
Yeah.
At Fog Allen, 18-point loss to a Cincinnati team with a coach on the hot seat.
I couldn't believe that. When I was busy that day, and then I looked at the score and I went, what the hell is happening in Fog Allen? Like, It really made me think, well, because I picked Kansas in this game against Houston, and it really made me think, well, maybe some of that magic's gone, but it's not.
I mean, the big question with Kansas still is, what is Darren Peterson to Kansas, and what is
Well, I tell
Kansas
you
to
what, he
Darren
was
Peterson?
against Houston, 14-5, and he hit some big shots.
It was,
No,
I mean,
I'm going to answer your question. Man, I saw him being interviewed after the game, and a guy asked him, kind of about, the inconsistencies from this year. And he said it doesn't bother him at all, that he's always been kind of an antisocial loner, and that, he's just out there to play ball. I would love to be a fly on the wall in this locker room, because I've read reports that Bill Self has flat out told him, like, look, brother, are you going to play or are you not? That he's challenged him in every way that a coach can. I don't know. This guy flies to his own, kind of marches to the beat of his own drum. He's very talented. There's no doubt about that. Extremely talented. And this team, if they can figure it out with him in there, they are a national title contender, possibly. The problem is he doesn't get on the floor enough for them to figure. And this is why I think that Kansas is going to struggle when it comes to tournament time, unless he plays every game down the stretch.
Kansas is a team that it felt like was built for Darren Peterson, but Darren Peterson wasn't built for Kansas. You see what I'm saying? It feels like they wanted to surround Peterson with the best talent possible for him to succeed, right? But he doesn't think that it's good enough for him, and the system is too teamwork based. It feels like he wants to be the center of attention, in a sense. And
let me ask you this: if the rule was not what it is, and it was the way it was years ago, do you think Darren would have just went to the NBA?
He would have been a one and done, or not one and done. He would have been a high school.
He would have been. I think so too, and I think that, and this is, I don't know the kid. I just know that I've read a lot about him. They said that this actually dates back to his AAU days. I feel like he's scared to get hurt real bad, and is scared it's going to mess his draft stock up. And what's crazy is you don't see that as much anymore, because NIL's paying these guys so much that some of these guys, which not Darren Peterson, but some of these guys be better off just staying in college making more money. I don't know, man. On the flip side of it, man, I would not want to have been in that locker room with Coach Sampson, having to deal with 3 losses in a row. I bet that they went 7 minutes and 31 seconds without a basket in the second half of this ball game. That's crazy.
I mean, their offense is just not there this year. It's weird.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, that's been the knock on Coach Sampson. The guy coaches great defense. He's a great leader of men. His teams offensively struggle, and they struggle mightily at times. And I'm telling you right now, you're not going to beat any good team. You're not going to beat very many teams when you go 7+ minutes without scoring a basket in the second half of the ball game. It was an eye opener for me, who's been pretty high on the Cougars this year. And it left me wondering about Kansas, because I just can't put, they are very talented. And like you said, this team, all Peterson has to do is get in the car, turn the key on, and drive that sucker, bro. I mean, he is a point guard. Am I correct?
Yeah, I believe he is a point guard.
He is a point guard. All he has to do is be a point guard. And in this system, he's going to get wide open threes that he's going to nail. He's going to show off his skills. All he's got to do is get his butt on the court. And I think, I'm sure Coach Self has told him that a million times.
Oh, he has.
But
no, he has.
Yeah, it was interesting. Neither one of us had the best week picking this week. I'm looking at it. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 right. And I believe Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I went above 500.
Okay.
Is this 6, 7 ever going to die, Charlie?
Not as long as I'm alive.
All right. Well, let's see. You got 1, 2. Ooh, 3. 7. I bested you by 1. You went undefeated last week. You'll be all right.
I have a fun question about Darren Peterson. Fun hypothetical.
Go for it.
If Mick Cronin was his coach, how silly would Mick Cronin press conferences be?
Dude, I'm wondering if Mick Cronin would even. I don't know. I mean, it begs the question. Like, we just don't know the inner workings of it. Like, is he got nagging injuries? Like, I just don't know. And I feel like maybe this is one of those things that after this season's done, the cards fall wherever they may. Maybe we'll find out more insight into this. Maybe teammates will start talking. Maybe Sylph will start talking. Or maybe, maybe the questioning of his heart is complete BS. And maybe he has been banged up. All I know is he's one of the best players in the nation. This team, in my opinion, now you correct me if you think that I'm different. I think this team seriously could get hot and win the whole damn thing.
I don't see it. I
think they could. I would put them in a category where I'd put them lower in it, but you better respect them. I mean,
who else is in that tier for you? Who else would you put in that tier?
Well, we'll wait till we get to my top 10 and I'll break that down. But I think this year there's quite a few. And I think that just from the Big 12 alone, I think there's 4. I really do. I think Arizona, Iowa State, Kansas, and I even think Houston maybe. At least 3. I don't know, man. I see them win these ball games, and I understand you can't play in the tournament at Fog Island, but make no mistake, there's a lot of NIL money behind this team, and it's still the Kansas Jayhawks, bro. So,
it is.
It is. All right. Well, I believe you have a few graphics to show us about a little bracketology, don't you?
I do. The NCAA release their top 4 seed groups. I guess that'd be the word. The 1, the 2, the 3s, and the 4s. So This is what they released on Saturday. This was pre-Duke, Michigan, pre-Arizona, Houston, I'm pretty sure. So, of course, stuff has changed now. Illinois is probably possibly a 3 after the loss to UCLA. They might have flipped with Florida. Mm-hmm. So we just remember this was on Saturday.
Yeah.
But your 1 seeds or your seeds going from top to bottom are Michigan, Duke, Arizona, Iowa State. That's the 1s. Then UConn, Houston, Illinois, Purdue. That's the 2s.
Okay.
Florida, Kansas, Nebraska, Gonzaga. That's the 3s. And Tech, State, Vandy, Virginia. That's the 4.
Well, when I look at this, a couple things pop in my mind. Those 4 seeds, I mean, Texas Tech has actually held it together since Toppin got hurt. So who knows there? But I could see them falling out of that. I could also see Vandy falling out of that. I could see Michigan State going up. I don't know. I'm looking around. Man, it's a tough road for Gonzaga. You lose in conference at all, I mean, your out of conference was great for the most part, besides the shellacking to Michigan, I suppose. Let me ask you this, Charlie. Do you think when it's all said and done, those would be your top 1 seeds? Because I don't.
Oh, it's really tough. Michigan and Duke, I think, are locks.
Yeah, I do too.
The only way that could possibly change is an injury, or they get bound, or they just lose out and lose first round of their tournament, or the first round that they play in their tournament. Then they kind of have to move them down to the 5. It feels like at that rate. Then I think Arizona's probably a soft lock. at 3. They've just been too good. Iowa State's the one team where I'm like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Fully. I think that UConn, they lost to Creighton on Saturday, but now I think they're up against St. John's in the second
They
half.
are.
Houston, who is weird, they're probably out of that 1 seed contention for right now unless they win the conference.
Yeah.
Illinois lost to UCLA on this very day that this came out. I don't see a single way Illinois gets any credibility after losing to Mick Cronin.
Boy, you just can't stand Mick Cronin in his weird shape head, can you?
Is it a question? Is that really your question? This is the worst question I've ever been asked. What are we doing?
Well, there's an expression I don't want to say on the air, but it would fit him real well. That involves a certain male genitalia. It's a nickname that comes with the second thing, head. I think he's that in real life, and he looks like that. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, he's kind of a strange-looking guy. I agree with you completely about your Michigan and Duke and your soft lock. I think you're 100% right there. I would even take it a little step further. I think Arizona would really have to crap the bed to end up not getting a 1, which, I mean, anything's possible in this season. Iowa State, you're right. UConn, I could see them. If Illinois got on a real run, that's the thing, man. I'm looking at this board, and there's only a few teams I couldn't see making a deep run. Like, there really is. Like, if you told me that, I'm going to be honest with you. Texas Tech, I think, is going to have a tough time without Toppin. Vanderbilt, I think I don't see them making a deep run. Pretty much everybody else you've got on there, I could see at least second weekend and maybe beyond.
One thing that did interest me is that Texas Tech's at 13. I enjoy that they're not fully punishing them for Toppin being out.
Yeah,
I kind of thought that they would punish them for Toppin being out because that is but they're a weird team because they have like a 1A and a 2A best player. Toppin is probably their best player, but Christian Anderson's right there.
Oh, Toppin's by far their best player, but Anderson's good, and that's not a bad team. That's a well-coached team too, man.
Yeah.
And I said it when it happened. It's a shame Toppin goes out, but good teams, they tend to rally around that kind of stuff. So I don't know. This is interesting to look at. I don't think that they're far off. But here's the fun thing about this year is there's a lot of good teams, and this all really could change. Like, I think you nailed it on the head. The only hard locks in there are Michigan and Duke, unless they just fall apart. And I just can't see that happening, man.
Yeah. So, well, there goes your bracketology look for the week. So, do we want to get into our top 10s or predictions first?
You call it, Duck. I'm good either way.
You never put me on the spot. Let's go with our top 10s because then that builds into predictions. Well, let's start off with the AP top 25 first.
Okay.
Tradition right here. So your top 25 for the week. Vandy, Louisville, SLU. They took a loss last night against Dayton.
Yeah.
Tennessee and Miami of Ohio.
Still undefeated.
Still undefeated. But looking at it right now, Tennessee, SLU, and Louisville are probably all three going to be out unless they have a good weekend.
Sure.
Then the next 5, Arkansas, BYU, UNC, Alabama, and Texas Tech. Pretty solid second-tier teams, in my opinion, right there. 100%. I think they're the second team. Then 15 through 11, St. John's, Kansas, Michigan State, Nebraska, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And then the top 10 read off as Illinois, Gonzaga, Purdue, Florida, UConn, Houston, Iowa State, Michigan, Arizona, and Duke. What I find really funny is that the top 3 spell out a beaver dam, if you ever think about it.
That is funny. Yeah, this the AP comes out and it's going to change a lot. Like the definitely, I think SLU's going to fall out of there for sure, taking their second loss. Yeah, it's interesting to see. But what really matters on Duck Duck Hoops is our top 10 power rankings.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna kick us off this week. I won't even.
Okay.
I'm gonna kick us off with honorable mentions, and I think you're going to be a little bit surprised by my first honorable mention. I've got the Houston Cougars. This is a team that has been in my top 5 pretty much the whole year, but they have lost 3 straight ball games. And man, I go by eye test. I go by what I know from ball. But you lose 3 straight ball games. I understand talented competition. You're out of my top 10. My other 2 are both Big Ten schools. You're right. That is a heck of a conference. I've got Purdue and Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah.
My honorable mentions are Illinois, Nebraska, Kansas. Those 3. I mean, they're just kind of the weird teams. It feels like they're the weirdos. They're the ones that are forever going to be locked into. They could be as high as 5. They could be as low as out of the list,
I agree.
depending on the week. And then the tradition: you're undefeated this late. You're good. Miami of Ohio on there. Go Red
I
Hawks.
commend you for that, for sticking with it. All right. So starting off, this was tricky because I know there's a big game tonight, but starting off my top 10, I've got St. John Red Storm. I understand that they're losing to UConn right now. I don't know what the score is. What is it?
I know the score: 61-32 UConn.
Yeah, that's awful.
Better rank Houston, buddy. Better rank Houston.
I will say this. They're riding a heater. They have been on a winning streak. I feel like that team is still pretty damn good. Yeah, I might ought to switch up. But
might want to rank Houston.
They're in my top 10 regardless. At 9, I've got the Gonzaga Bulldogs. And this is a tricky team because, and it is every year with Gonzaga, because all you can really go on is their out of conference schedule and who they slip up to, if they slip up to somebody. They've slipped up one time in the conference. They got blew out by Michigan and out of conference. And then everything else, they were dominant in. So who knows with them. At 8, I've got the Michigan State Spartans. I still think Tom Izzo's got a little something cooking there. I like that squad. They've been playing good ball lately. At 7, I've got Virginia. Bless you. I do agree with you about Virginia. I do think that they are a team that could end up being fraudulent. But all I can go with is they're beating everybody they play. They beat a very good Miami team recently. I mean, they are a good squad. I just got to see them against more talented competition. And this was tough for me on my 6 because I kind of wanted to move these guys into the top 5, but they've got a lot of losses early in the year. At 6, I've got the Florida Gators. They're the defending champs. Man, it's funny. When the SEC started play, we were thinking, Florida ain't all that good. And now it's like, damn, Florida's the best team in the SEC. And seem to be getting better. They beat my alma mater to death this weekend. I just think they're a good squad. So that's my 10 from 6.
Well, now I feel so weird for one of my teams on here being in your honorable mentions. But number 10, I got Virginia.
Okay.
They are a very, very talented team. Ryan Odom has rebuilt this program in a year. Mm-hmm. It is really impressive. Some people still thought Tony Bennett was there. So
I know Tony Bennett's going to work for the Lakers. And the other Tony Bennett just passed away. God rest his soul.
But nonetheless, Virginia is a very, very good team. It's your first year, Ryan Odom, with them. Can you do it in your first year? I'm just not sure fully. He did it with VCU.
He did.
But Virginia is a tougher stage.
Sure.
Number 9, I got Gonzaga. The rematch of their one conference losses tonight. They play Portland in Spokane. I'm sure that they'll handle Portland by 40 in this
I
one.
think so. I really do.
If by God's grace next week Portland wins, I will buy a Portland Pilots jersey and I will wear it on air proudly. There's just no way that they strike gold twice.
Bulldogs by at least 30.
Number 8, I got Purdue. They're a talented team. They're just really. It makes me kind of want to strangle them because of how inconsistent they can be at some points. It just makes me angry. Number 7, I got Houston. They lost 3 straight, but they still got a resume of a national champion contender. I can't take them out of my top 10. I don't have the heart to do it. Number 6, then probably going to rise up next week if they continue. UConn. They lost to Creighton. Then they just are steamrolling St. John's as we speak.
Wow.
UConn, very talented team. They've taken the memorial, the Kelvin Sampson Memorial 6th spot for this week. I'm sure Houston will be back next week. Don't worry. But that is my 10 through 6.
Okay. Well, I'll start off where you left off. I got UConn at 5. I actually thought about moving them up to 4. They just keep winning. Like you said, had to slip up with Creighton. But, man, Dan Hurley's got a squad there. And would I be shocked if UConn got into the tournament and ended up in the Final Four again? I mean, no, I wouldn't. Not at all. At 4, I got the Iowa State Cyclones. Man, they are consistently hard for me to rank. But I saw enough this week to put them at 4. I do think that they need to figure out a way to get some more scoring in some of these ball games. They're kind of like Houston. They can go for a pretty good drought as well. But I got them at 4. At 3, I got the Michigan Wolverines. And I thought about just leaving them at, putting them at 2 after the loss to Duke. But it was hard for me to do. I think that these top 3, I've said it all year, are pretty close and interchangeable. At 2, I've got the Arizona Wildcats. I like what I see from the Wildcats. They bounce back after a tough loss. And at 1, buddy, I've had them there most of the year. And they proved it against Dusty May and the squad. It's the Duke Blue Devils. I mean, I've been around a while, Charlie, and I can see with the eye test that they are going to be a tough out. They are going to they're a complete basketball squad with a very good player at the top. So I got the Blue Devils at 1.
My top 5. This is a somber week for me. I have to eat crow a little bit in this top 5. Number 5, I got Florida. The Gators. Yeah, I'm sold on them now. The Gators are a very, very good team. They're the best in the SEC. This year, saying you're the best in the SEC compared to last year does not mean as much to me fully. But, they are a very good team. They stand alone in the SEC to me. And they're going to be the 1 seed in Nashville probably. And should probably hoist that SEC trophy at the end of the tournament. 4, Iowa State. They the 4 spot might be the Milan Momcilovic Memorial 4 spot because Iowa State they have a week where I'm like, okay, the Cyclones are here, and then the Cyclones like a natural disaster dissipates. That's what happened this week. They dissipated. Number 3, I got Michigan. A rough loss to Duke. Not rough in the sense of, oh no, you got blown out, but rough in the sense of it feels like a game that you probably should have won in a way. I mean, they had Duke in some moments where they looked beatable, and then it just crumbled, and then they would get back into it, then crumble again. They are just a little too reliant on Lindenborg at moments. And then number 2. I got the Arizona Wildcats. They're the main benefactor out of the Duke Michigan game, really, because they slide into that 2 spot pretty safely. And a great week for them. They've proven consistently why they are one of the best teams in the nation, and to do this without Koa Pete is especially that Houston game, very impressive, very honorable. And number one, they might be playing in honor of Coach K. Who knows? Duke, the Duke Blue Devils are my number one team. Like I said, Coach K. But
yeah, for you guys out there that don't know, there was a stupid AI hoax that said Coach K passed away today.
Coach K, they're playing for you, buddy. No, I mean Duke is just they've proven it. They've proven it on the big stage, especially against Michigan. They've had some solid wins in the past, but I was kind of like, I got to see it against the elite. I saw it flat out. I saw it with my own 2 eyes at a Mexican restaurant. They beat Michigan, and that's my top 10. We got the same 1. I think we got the same 2, and we got the same 3.
Yeah. Well, our top 4 is the same.
Yeah, it's just
we're pretty close on that.
You go down and you took Houston out with your woke politics.
Man, I can't help it. All right, so what we got on the agenda for this upcoming week, Charlie?
Well, I'm looking at it. There is no games from tonight that we can predict. The 8 p.m. slate is surprisingly very thin tonight. But tomorrow, why does every elite Big Ten game have to happen while I'm doing my job? Michigan State versus Purdue in Mackey Arena tomorrow at 7.
A little Thursday night action.
Most of them 22-5.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. I really think that Purdue could use a big victory here. And Mackey Arena is typically the place to get it. I think those guards from Purdue are going to be really fired up. And I've got Michigan State ranked higher than them in my power rankings. So it's a tough pick for me. I'm just going to go with the home team on this one. I think Purdue's due a big victory. I think it'll be a close ball game. Give me the Boilermakers in this ball game.
An angry Purdue is not the Purdue that you want to face. I'll be flat out. They lost that one to Michigan last week. They played Indiana, murdered Indiana flat out. They are going to be in this Michigan State or play against Michigan State. They have not played Michigan State this season.
No.
I'm pretty sure, but you got to think they're still a little angry about that Michigan loss. They just want to see the Wolverines again. They want to prove that they are still there in the Big Ten after what's been kind of, I don't want to say an off year because 22-5 is not an off year, but Purdue the past few years, 22-5 does kind of feel like an off year. So it's tough, but I think Jeremy Fears is due for a huge game. I got Michigan State taking this one.
Okay. All right.
Then the next one, Friday night. I don't have to work for this Big Ten matchup. It's like the Big Four and the Big Ten are just going against each other. Number 3, Michigan, after the loss to Duke, travels to Champaign to play the Fighting Illini.
Whew.
This one does have a spread out. This one does have a spread.
What's the spread?
-1.5 Michigan.
Well, this is going to be interesting. Michigan's going to be mad. They got dethroned as the number 1 team in the nation. Illinois is going to be looking to prove that they are in the upper echelon. And I think they're a great team. I really do. But, man, I see the Wolverines proving their pedigree. I think it's a close ball game, but give me the Wolverines.
This one, This one I just have a bad feeling for Michigan. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I have a bad feeling for them. I think Illinois is going to come in. I think that they're going to win. I just, after watching that Michigan team last week, if they even come out a little bit, it's weird that I'm saying this about a 5-point loss, but they
Yeah,
just look,
against Duke. I don't
yeah,
understand.
but they looked so weird. They did not look like Michigan in that game. They looked too reliant on the axle. They looked more BYU than Michigan at some points in that game. I just think Illinois is going to just beat them in Champaign. I think they're going to beat them.
All right, we're split on the first two.
The next one, 11 a.m. Saturday morning. Virginia Duke. The top two in the ACC, I believe, in standings right now. This one is a very, very confusing game.
Well, I think it'd be more confusing if it wouldn't have Cameron Indoor Stadium. Man, I like the Cavaliers. I think that Virginia is a good squad. I think that they, could possibly make a Sweet 16 this year. Do I think they're going to beat the best team in the nation at the most raucous arena in the nation? Negative. As my old personality, the redneck roofer, would say, that's no bueno.
Your old gimmick?
My old gimmick. Give me the Blue Devils.
Now you're shooting straight, brother. Yeah, I got the Blue Devils in this one, but I think this could be a very close game where they kind of have to face some adversity in this one. I think that they could have they could be down by a couple late in this game, and I think that's when you're going to see Cam Boozer and Isaiah Evans shine, especially in this late window, because you got to think for Duke after this. You got NC State, which NC State is a pretty good team this year. They're 19-9. That game's at the PNC Center or the PNC Arena. But after that, you got Tobacco Road. So you got to think that they're just mentally preparing themselves for Tobacco Road. And either I see this one being a Virginia choke, or I see Duke taking out some practice on a ranked team. Preparing for UNC.
Yeah.
Next on our slate, we got two Big 12 games at the same time. This is a multi-view of nightmares right here. Kansas at Arizona, the rematch from earlier this month. Kansas won that previous matchup 82-78, but a lot has changed, especially for Arizona. Koa Pete obviously hurt. This game is in Tucson, though. But what's your pick?
Well, I tell you, man, wouldn't it be a statement for Kansas to go in there and, take two from Arizona, really move their status in the Big 12, Koa Pete's out, all that. Problem is, man, I just don't trust Kansas enough. I don't know if Darren Peterson is going to play any guy. I just don't know. I think this will be a good ball game. I think that Zona's going to want their win back. Give me the Wildcats.
Yeah, I agree with you absolutely. I just think that we're getting to a point where Kansas kind of has to show a consistent body of work, and they still have not shown a consistent body of work. At points, they go on runs, of course. I mean, they beat BYU, Texas Tech, and Arizona in 3 of 4 games, but then they dropped 2 to Iowa State and Cincinnati as well. I don't see it flat out for Kansas. If Peterson's playing, and if Peterson's not playing, I just still don't see it. I got Arizona winning this one.
Okay.
And then at the same time, Texas Tech on the road in Ames playing Iowa State.
Well, Texas Tech has a lot to prove. They're trying to hold on to their seeding without Toppin. The problem is they have to play this game at Iowa State. And, man, there's no way there's just no way I'm gonna pick against the Cyclones at home in this ball game. And I don't think it'll be close. Give me Iowa State.
Iowa State is a very, very good team. Iowa State are world beaters at points. But Texas Tech is a very embattled team. They're a very inspired team after losing JT Toppin. Give me the Red Raiders in this one to shoot the lights out. I think that Hilton Magic's good, but the power of friendship is better.
Okay.
And then I believe the last game on the Saturday slate, number 17 Alabama versus number 22 with Tennessee in Knoxville. Tennessee took the last one 79-73 in the famous Bediako game.
Mm-hmm. Whew. That's a tough one. I mean, these teams have both been very up and down this year. Rick Barnes gets his big win over Vanderbilt, then ends up dropping one last night. Bama's been all over the place. Typically on one like this, I would just go with the home team. But I got a feeling that this Bama team's going to come in there, and I think they're going to beat the Vols. Give me Roll Tide.
Rammer Jammer.
That's right. Break that yellow hammer.
This is a really confusing game because these are both teams that I feel like have shown different personalities this year. One day you're looking at Tennessee and you go, okay, well, maybe they can make a deep run, a Sweet 16, maybe an Elite 8. Then you watch them and you go, okay, no, they're definitely not doing that. And I think this is going to be a performance where they show exactly that. Give me Alabama.
Okay.
I lied. There's one more game on Saturday.
Okay.
7:30, Arkansas versus Florida.
Whew.
The top two teams in my eyes in the SEC. I know Vandy, Tennessee, Alabama, but it's Arkansas and Florida.
I agree with you. And these are the two teams I was biggest on in the SEC. I talked about Arkansas from the beginning, how talented I think they are. Still think they are. Florida is hot at the right time. It's a tricky one because I think Florida's the better team overall. But I think that Arkansas is starred for a big victory, which I think is going to make for a good ball game. Don't be surprised if we don't see overtime in this ball game. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say the Razorbacks end up winning this ball game in a close one.
Okay. I just think that the one thing that Arkansas does not have that Florida has is a style of basketball that can put 20 in a millisecond on you.
I agree with that.
I think Florida is going to do just that. I think that they're just going to outscore Arkansas the whole game. And I mean, obviously, if you outscore a team, you're going to beat them.
Yeah.
Think about that.
That's how it works.
I think that's what's going to happen here. I think that they're just going to keep the foot on the gas the whole game and cruise past Arkansas.
Right on.
Then we got Big Monday, the last Big Monday of the season.
Okay.
Iowa State at Arizona. They're going out with a bang.
They sure are. They sure are. This is going to be an interesting one. I think Iowa State's capable of going in there and winning. I really do. And I do think Arizona is definitely capable of being beat at home. We've seen it happen. It's not going to happen this time. I think that the better team is the Wildcats. Give me Arizona to solidify their number one seed.
This one's really tough because it feels like last or 2 weeks ago when I said, "Oh, one game's dependent on the other." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
One game is very dependent on what happens before, and it was Iowa State in that example. They beat Kansas, and what happened? They beat Houston 3 days later. Yeah. I think that it could be the same situation with Texas Tech. here, where if they beat Texas Tech, well, maybe they have a shot against Arizona. If they lose Texas Tech, slumps do happen, and they kind of extend. I have Texas Tech winning that one, and I have Arizona winning this one.
All right.
I think that Arizona, Koa Pete might be coming back in this one.
That's what I'm banking on. I think he might be back. And I just really think that Arizona's going to solidify that number 1 seed.
And then I'm looking at the Tuesday slate. There is nothing much left. So that brings us to the end of our predictions right there.
Okay.
We got one more week until it's conference tournament predictions. How about that?
That's crazy that next week we'll be talking about conference tournaments. I'm excited for it, though, man. This is a lot of people really discount college basketball until it gets to March Madness. And I understand that. But, like, man, there's a lot of excitement in the weeks leading up to it. There's a lot of excitement at the beginning of the year. That's why we did this podcast. Because college basketball, it's one of those things that even though kids are getting paid these days, man, good Lord, it's just exciting. And, you want to see those upsets, and they're going to come in March, and I'm here for it, man. So next week we'll have conference tournament predictions, I suppose.
Possibly. I'm looking at the area for them. I'm not sure really what conferences there are going to be that have brackets out. Maybe we do a special Sunday show when some brackets come out next week.
That
Who
sounds
knows?
Fantastic to me.
Because I'll be in Memphis for that. I mean,
you will be, man. Hey, that sounds like a plan to me, man. We want to give you guys all the hoops talk y'all can stand. Before we let go this week, I want to give big props up to Team America. Did well in the Olympics. The ladies and the men take home gold in hockey. Man, if you got to watch that men's game, that was something beautiful to see. I know there's been some controversy surrounding it. We don't talk about politics on this show. We talk about sports, and Team USA kicked some ass, and that was very impressive to see. Aside from that, man, Duck, you got anything else for this week?
I mean, I don't believe I have anything else except gotta plug any chance that I can get, of course. I believe right now is the Class 2 District 1 semifinal. The other one is Hockham versus Campbell. If you want to catch that stream, Mark and Chris got that. It should be the second half over there. It's a rematch of the Boot Hill Conference tournament earlier this year. That's girls. But tomorrow it will be me and Travion and Malden again, Class 3 District 1 semis. We got Twin Rivers, New Madrid, Crothersville, Malden. Should be two very good games. And then Mark and Chris will have South Penn versus Zenith and Hayti versus Neelyville in a rematch of the Class 2 District 1 final last year. So we got a full slate. And then think about it. Friday, we got the girls title in Class 2 District 1. Saturday, we got the boys title in Class 3 and Class 2 District 1. It's still a packed week for us here on the Boot Hill Sports Network. So the madness has started in high school basketball. Trust me. It has.
If you guys get a chance, subscribe, tune in. If you guys are real fans, pay the mission stream, because you're going to see some really good basketball. A lot of kids are going to go away with smiles, and there's going to be some hearts broken, and that's what's great about sports, man. I'm going to drop my early prediction. I think that the Boot Hill, which I know that I'm on the Boot Hill Sports Network, but I consider the two teams that when I think of Boot Hill, I think of two teams. I think of the Hayti Indians.
I was going to assume that.
The Crothersville Tigers. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that both of these teams win their district.
Hey, who knows what happens after that? That's all I got to say. But
that's right.
That is our show for the week. Thank you all for watching Duck Hoops. Once again, thank you all for liking. Thank you all for supporting us. We got a couple more weeks until it is Selection Sunday. Man, it feels like it just started last week in some ways. It's been weird how fast the season's gone.
And you guys remember, special live Selection Sunday show. We're going to be breaking down the brackets. We're going to be giving you all the insight. We can't wait.
I'm going to be exhausted that day. I can tell you what. That's when we get home from beta. I figured that out. So it's going to be bad. It's going to be real bad. But that is our show. Thank you all for watching the Boot Hill Sports Network. We will see you hopefully tomorrow. Buy the streams. It's $10 on Mission TV. Then we'll see y'all Friday for the girls' trophy. We'll see y'all Saturday for the boys' trophies. Thank you all for supporting all season long. We will see you next Wednesday.